What's going on today, guys? Hope you guys are doing well. Today, I wanted to talk about a comment that I had gotten on one of my previous videos. And the video was explaining how if certain things keep going the way they are, a lot of truck drivers are going to be forcefully removed from having a commercial driver's license. And so what the effects are. So if you want to go check that out, that's a separate video. But I'd gotten a comment on one of the videos, and I'll channel my best disgruntled trucker here because it was kind of that sentiment. Well, the last thing corporations want to do is pay truck drivers. So guess what? Nothing's going to change, and the rates might even go down further. That was the comment he made, and I'm going to break this down into two different parts. The first part, I'm going to address the sentiment that was expressed in the comment itself, and then after that, I'll actually address the claims that were made in the comment. Now, that sentiment of nothing's ever going to change. If you have worked in trucking, let alone any field for any amount of time, you're going to run into that sentiment of people who are just miserable in their job and they think that everything is against them. Now, I'm not going to comment on the person who made this specific comment because I don't know the context of his life. I don't know the context of what job he has, why he made that comment, what led up to him making that comment. But if I didn't know any better, I would think that that was probably my former slip seat at Pilot or my coworker at Pilot. And I've had him at pretty much every trucking company that I worked at. And I have coworkers at Gemini who have very similar feelings of, well, nothing's ever going to change. And, I can't believe I've been working here for as long as I have because it's just horrible here. Now, with this coworker at Pilot, for example, he had complained so much, and he had been there for, 15 plus years at Pilot for 15 plus years hauling fuel for them. He was complaining about the Volvo truck that we were using at the time, and it had 160,000 miles on it, which is nothing for Pilot. Pilot didn't replace trucks until they hit closer to 600,000 or 700,000 miles, maybe 500 on the low end, depending upon the problems. But so it was, I didn't have any issues with it. Rode a little rough, but it did the job and whatever. It's not my truck at the end of the day, so I don't really care. But he had complained about it so much, saying, oh, it's just a Euro trash truck and it can't do anything right. And it has all these problems that I never personally experienced, but he claimed it was having all these problems. And he kept complaining and complaining and complaining. And then a few months later, they ended up giving us a brand new truck just because he complained his way out of the old Volvo, even though it only had 160,000 miles on it. And just with just about every person that's had that sentiment that I've run into, what happened when they gave him a brand new truck? He didn't care. His actual response when they gave him a brand new, and me too, since I was a slip seat, a brand new Kenworth, was whoop-de-doo. He didn't care. Because ultimately, if you're just a miserable person, nothing's going to ever be good enough. And so out of pure curiosity, I started asking him some questions, just like, so why do you hate your job so much? And then he went off on a tangent. I don't hate my job. I just hate this company and the way that it's run and blah, 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 dispatch this and blah, blah, blah. So it ultimately, conversations with those types of people, especially about the company or whatever it is that you're doing, or pretty much anything, it's going to be kind of fruitless, just because when you're entrenched in that mindset of nothing's ever good enough and I hate everything that I do and I hate the company, there's not really a whole lot that can change that. And then also, after asking some other questions, and keep in mind, he's an older guy, late 50s, early 60s, something like that. I don't know his exact age, but come to find out, he also spent all his money on, frivolous things. And so that's why he wasn't able to retire instead of, being at a job that he hates. It's also another example of why you should save your money instead of spending it on frivolous stuff, and invest it properly so that you actually can retire instead of staying at a job where you're miserable and you hate showing up to work every day. Because that was certainly the case with him. certainly the case with many other people that I've worked with at pretty much every single trucking company and every company in general. It's not industry specific. And I found with those type of people, it's not the company, or it's not the job that they do. It's not, the specific season that they're in. It's just personal choices that they have made over the course of their life that have made them miserable, but they do not have the humility to admit it, or the humility to change anything about it. It's so much easier to just sit there and complain about it, and to try and pull other people in that you're working with down to your level of negativity. And that's what they refer to as the crab in the bucket mentality. As the crabs on the top start to reach over the top of the bucket to try and escape, another crab will grab them and pull them down. Especially for you guys who are new to trucking, or really anything else, don't associate with those people. Just kind of say, okay, sure. Because it's really easy to get in that constant mindset of complaining about anything and everything. And if that's the mindset that you're going to adopt, you're going to live a miserable life, and it's going to be hard to enjoy any part of life, let alone your jobs. And then as far as the claims that this person made in the comment of, well, nothing's ever going to change, and the last thing corporations want to do is pay truck drivers. Well, to a certain extent, I agree. There are some companies that drag their feet on giving raises, or paying a decent market average. I've certainly been at those companies. I've certainly worked at those companies, and guess what? Ultimately, you can not work for that company anymore. Not every corporation is going to treat you like trash. Not every corporation is going to pay you the least amount that they can get away with. There are good corporations out there. Now, there are also a lot of corporations that do treat you like a number and do treat you like you're below the market average of whatever you're doing. But that's not every corporation. And ultimately, whether it's moving to a different company or working for yourself as an owner operator, or 1099 as an independent contractor for whatever line of work that you do, you can go out and make a better wage for yourself. It requires research, it requires effort, and ultimately what that negativity is expressing is a desire to change, but the unwillingness or laziness to put in the effort to do so. That's what it is. And if you guys disagree with me, feel free to put it in the comment section down below. Ultimately, I think, and I know because I've experienced it, and many other people that I know have experienced it, if you do the research and you put in the effort, there are better opportunities for you out there. And you don't have to be miserable. Misery is a choice. Ultimately, misery is a choice, because ultimately we can better ourselves, certainly in a first world country, and as wealthy as a country as we live in the United States. So if trucking's not doing it for you, go do something else. If a specific line within trucking that you're doing, isn't working for you and it's not meeting your expectations, go and do something else. Research your options, and then put your best foot forward and make a change. Because the reality is, complaining about how nothing's ever going to change is just reality. A lot of things in life don't change. Some things do, but a lot of things in life don't change. And ultimately, it is up to you to actually make that change in your life. So again, I cannot stress enough, if you're new to trucking or if you're new in an industry, don't let the miserable old guys or, gals in whatever case, drag you down. Don't associate any more than you're actually required to with the people that have that mindset, that have that constant misery mentality, because it is too easy to just start complaining about your life and what's going on in your life versus making the effort to change. With that said, if you guys disagree with me or you agree with me, put it in the comment section down below. Or if you have video that you want me to make about any specific topic, again, I'd be happy to make it. Just put it in the comment section down below. And if you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. God bless.